An Auckland mother has launched a petition calling on the government to fund Epipens, which she says many families can't afford. The auto-injectors contain adrenaline and are self-administered when someone suffers an anaphylactic shock. Despite New Zealand having some of the highest rates of allergic diseases in the world, auto-injectors aren't funded here. Victoria Johnston says she launched a petition after her 8-year-old son James had a serious reaction to a wasp sting. She told me at more than $100 each, many families can't afford an EpiPen. I asked her what she now needed to have at home in case James is stung again.
Anaphylaxis, you have to have two things happen, not just swelling, the breathing difficulty, and also your blood pressure has to drop, which is what happened in the ambulance on our driveway. They gave him the adrenaline via a needle in the ambulance before they took him off. And we've since discovered via pinprick tests at Starship what the allergen was, and that it was a wasp sting. So now we are having to carry an auto-injector everywhere we go. Two preferably, because one may not work the first time. And that came as quite a big shock to us because we didn't realise they weren't funded in New Zealand. It just made me think of all those people that can't afford them.
Yeah, so how much are they costing you?
It's a range. There's no fixed price. You can go to your local pharmacy and be quoted $175, or like we did, we kind of, was shocked and walked away and looked online to see if we can get a better price. And we got ours for $110, but that's just for one.
And they run out, don't they? So it's a regular cost, not a one-off sort of thing.
Yes, that's right. It expires, and if you're lucky, you'll get a longer expiry date than another one that's on the shelf. We've been quoted $105 from overseas, but it's got a short shelf life because there's a worldwide shortage of the brand Epipens. There are other auto-injectors out there on the market. This is something that I'm trying to stress that hasn't been covered before, because there are other options. We've just not got any access to them in New Zealand. Wish we did.
What about when James is at other places, like at school or with relations? Do you try and have pens in those places as well?
Children that go to school need to take one to school. We home educate, which is great. And I have got an ampule and a syringe and a needle, which I have had training in twice, because I wasn't happy the first time. I still felt nervous, so I asked around and I've had training again. But it's still a frightening prospect to administer a needle, from a glass ampule with the correct dosage when your hands are shaking.
Yeah, so Pharmac are saying, well, we don't need to fund EpiPens because we fund a needle and syringe.
Yes, that's right.
But you're saying it's actually, they're really tricky to use.
Yes. People, in my case, I can look out for James, but other people have to do this themselves. There's adults, that have to do it themselves, and they're unable to because their bodies have, they're going through an anaphylactic reaction. They can't administer a needle that way. And children that do go to school they can't take this needle and this ampule. They must provide an EpiPen or an auto-injector to the school for them to administer it there. And it must be just a frightening thought sending a child off every day as well for someone else to look after.
So what do you want to happen now?
For EpiPens or an auto-injector to be funded for everyone. There should be no discrimination. This is life or death. It's, no one asks for this to happen to themselves. It's just one of those awful things. It came out of the blue. We didn't know he was allergic. It just happened, and now we're having to live with it. Forever.
Are these funded in other countries?
They're funded in UK, definitely in the UK, and definitely in Australia.
So now, how's your petition going? Have you had many signatures yet?
Yeah, so far we've got over 1,400 signatures. A lady in the past raised 10,000 signatures, so I mean that's just amazing. And I'd love to equal that or exceed that. If all the New Zealanders get behind us, everyone with an allergy, please support them. You never know when you're faced with somebody having an anaphylactic shock and you have to help them.
And that's Victoria Johnston talking to me there. And we asked Pharmac for a response, and in a statement, its Director of Operations, Lisa Williams, said that Pharmac funds adrenaline ampules, which cost about $1 each and contain the same active ingredients as Epipens. She said Pharmac works within a fixed budget, which means it has to make difficult choices about the use of funding to obtain the best health outcomes for all New Zealanders. It's not convinced, it says, at this time that funding auto-injectors would be the next best spend of its budget. And Ms Williams said Pharmac remained in close contact with potential suppliers and hoped to negotiate an affordable long-term funding agreement.